It's another Thursday evening. That means another episode of Vaping in the Mic, only from Smoke Free Radio Network. The following program is rated TVMA. This program may contain strong opinions, explicit language, and possible adult themes. The opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the Smoke Free Radio Network or its affiliates. This program is meant for mature adult audience. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
That was interesting.
It's another Thursday evening. We've got another episode of Vaping in the Mic. I'm Mike Peterson. Glad that everybody could join us this evening. There's just one little snag as we go along. You're going to see me typing for a minute, or the people that are going to be listening are going to hear me typing, because I absolutely forgot to get one more thing taken care of, which is what we're going to do right now. So here we are. Thursday evening, for the people that are down south, I am seriously at a point where I hope that everybody that has been affected by the hurricane that has come through is doing like much, much better. I looked at some of that, and I'll tell you what, folks, that was just one nasty storm. So as always, they keep everybody that was affected by storms in our thoughts and our prayers as they go through trying to rebuild parts of their lives and parts of everything else that they've got going on. This evening we've got a guy that I've had the chance, I've spoken with him a couple of different times online. I finally got the chance to meet him in person when we were at the Vapors Carnival down in Chattanooga, Tennessee over the summer. And I'll tell you what, you want to talk about a guy that has a lot of things wired together really well. I'm looking forward to talking to him. Tonight we have Mr. Sherwin Mena, and it's going to be an interesting evening because I asked him just real quick, I said, is there anything you want to steer away from? He goes, nope. So I'm like, okay, well, this might very well be one of those wholeheartedly interesting nights. So, if you would, everybody, take time, say hello to Sherwin. Sherwin, how you doing this evening?
Good, my friend. How are you doing?
Now I've got to turn around and jack your mic volume all the way back up. See, it's this damn mixer.
Is that better?
Yeah, a lot of it is on my end because I'm trying to avoid an echo in what I'm doing. But we'll get things ironed out as we go along.
Yeah. OBS is not the most friendliest service to use.
It's going to work out fine. I don't have any doubt about that. Tell me, if you would, I noticed from the splash screen that I'd put up that you have the moniker on there that says the right to be, or the right to vape PAC.
Correct.
What is that?
So, Right to Vape is a political action committee. And for those of you that don't know what a political action committee is, it's a nonprofit that is structured so it's specifically designed to go ahead and accept monetary donations from consumers and be able to donate directly to the re-election campaign of politicians. There's two types of PACs. There's a traditional PAC, which accepts money from consumers, and then there's a super PAC, which collects money from organizations, large institutions, but they are not allowed to contribute directly to political campaigns. They pretty much do advertising campaigns, billboards on behalf of the politician or idea that they're attempting to support. So it's been very effective in North Carolina. I think I always preface with the words that we're the only functioning political action committee for the vaping industry. I think there's another one maybe on the West Coast, but I don't know whether it's actually active. But we have donated considerable amounts of money to many politicians at the General Assembly here in North Carolina, and it has helped our cause in North Carolina tremendously. When you have a political action committee, you are considered to be a mature industry. Everyone can have a lobbyist, but a PAC is something completely different, because politicians will look at a PAC and they'll say, all right, these people are getting funding somewhere, so we need to really go ahead and take a look at them. And, when you're dealing with politicians, you also have to take into consideration that a lot of these guys are doing something for you, for your cause. So it's only fair that you support them in some way as well. A lot of times you'll see people go up, talk to their politicians, help us, help us, help us. Well, what are you doing for them? What are you doing for them?
And that's one that I don't think a lot of people take the time to really listen to, or to take the time to think about, is these politicians are taking their time. They're listening to you. They're trying to do something. And you're right. What are we doing for them taking their time to actually get out and advocate for us, or to help change laws, bills, things like that?
Yeah, and I say it in preface as an industry, not as an individual, because obviously as an individual you can go ahead, you can talk to your politician at all times, but when we go up there, we talk in the form of an industry. So, it's like I said, it's just being a mature industry. You got it together, you know what you're doing. Not only that, but you got the support of an industry that is also backing you financially. If you look at certain PACs, politicians don't know where that money comes, because a PAC could have zero money one day, it can have 5 million the next. So PACs are always looked at with a raised eyebrow on the political spectrum, because it does have the ability to influence, to raise money, and it's something that, politicians have PACs. That's a way for them to go ahead and collect money. PACs can contribute to PACs.
That's one thing that I had not ever really thought of, was that they're their own entity.
Yeah,
when it
their own political nonprofit entity, specifically for donating to political causes, to re-election campaigns, whatever. So as an industry, and I've always been the one to go ahead and preach this, it's time to go ahead and step up, to go ahead and have a PAC. I believed it from the very beginning. That's why I went ahead and I formed it. And I think that's one of the reasons why you have some of the success that we're having in North Carolina, is because we're not only thanking the politicians, verbally, but we're saying, listen, you know what? We believe in you. Here's some money for your campaign. We're behind you.
And that's one thing that I've known or have thought about for a long period of time, is you want to grab a politician's attention. Not only do you give them a vote, but you show them cash, and they're paying attention.
Yeah, listen, it's not like you give them money, they're going to do what you want to do. It doesn't work like that. It gives you access. It gives you an ear, a direct ear to talk to. It gives you a time to go out for drinks, sit down, and have a heart-to-heart with this man instead of speaking to a staffer. That's what a PAC does. So, some people have relationships with politicians that can do it without a PAC. That's great. But in the meantime, there's a lot of people that don't. And we've got to take advantage of it. And we've used our funds very efficiently, very specifically, targeted specific heads of appropriations in North Carolina. And we've, I think, we've done a really good job. It's Republican controlled, but still, you don't get to the point that we're at by just by that saving grace alone, there has to be a connection, there has to be communication, there has to be access. And in order to get that access, that's what the PAC does. And, it'd be nice for other states to go ahead and get this off the ground and see each state have their own PAC. How many cloud comps are there that all these states that all these shops hold that are members of state organizations? Well, that money could go to a PAC. They could go ahead and we have a First Friday that happens every 2 months, and we've got all of our members that go ahead and contribute e-liquid and people even from out of state hardware. And we've got an auctioneer that comes in and he does a great job, and he auctions off all that hardware, and we raffle off all of that e-liquid, and we raise money for the PAC. So there are ways to creatively go ahead and raise money. And since elections are every 2 years, you have enough time to have those meetings to really get a nice little war chest going. And at the end of the year, we go ahead, at the end of the election year, or right before the election year, we have an event, a catered event, and we have our politicians, and we have chief of staffs coming in from other politicians, and they learn about our industry, and they hear us speak, they hear me speak, they hear our board members speak, they hear our lobbyists speak, and they have an opportunity to speak because we also have consumers there as well. So it's access. Where can you go ahead and have drinks and food with this guy who has the ability to make or break a bill that's coming your way?
How often do you see that, or how often do you find that could be actually true? From the guy that you were supporting to be that kind of influential?
Oh yeah, definitely. You got to understand, you don't have, let me rephrase this. You have to be very selective as to who you give your money to. You have to know who you're targeting, and you have to make sure that they're people that are of authority or have the capability to go ahead and help you in the way that you need to be helped. And that comes from having a good lobbyist who can tell you who to pinpoint.
And that is something I don't think a lot of people really understand when they get right down to it, is how the political arena is really working. I mean, the people that I've spoken to, and I've gone around, I hit shops, I try to talk to people individually, and they'll ask me, they'll say, so how does all the political side work? And I'm like, okay, look, we can either talk about advocacy tonight or we can talk about politics, but we don't have the time to do both in an hour, when I sit with them. And it's one thing that you mentioned something a little bit earlier that I never really paid attention to. I have no clue where this stuff comes from.
Sounds better.
Wow. Well, I can see I'm going to have to do some editing on that side.
Yeah, that's the FDA probably bugging your
Yeah, the FDA broke into my PC and decided to play hell with my stuff. You mentioned earlier that talking to staffers or talking to a staff member, how influential are those guys? Not just the elected official, but the staff member, because I've heard from time to time that talking to a staff member can be just as important as talking to the actual elected official.
It can be. It depends on the staffer. That's the reason why we invite these staffers to our events, so that we can sit down, talk to them, explain to them, and they have a firsthand, more personal experience than like the 15 to 20 minutes they give you when you sit in their office. Here they're having drinks, they're eating really good food, it's catered, and they're saying, wow, these people really know what they're doing. They got their stuff together. As opposed to, speaking to a staffer who kind of get the big picture and still put their agenda ahead of your point sometimes. Staffers, you got to go through them. That's the way it is. But it's always best to be able to go ahead and speak directly to the political representative. That is what you want, So I preface with saying depends on the staffer, depends on the relationship that maybe your lobbyist has with the staffer. That's also helpful as well. But if it's just you're talking to a staffer, you know, it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing.
True. How long did it take you, as you were going through things, to get to a point where you were comfortable working more on the political arena side? Because I'm going to put it to you this way. You have a presence about you, as well as physical gravitas is about the best way that I can explain it. That when you talk, people have a tendency to listen to you. You know, if you take some lady that's 4'2" and skinny as a rail, people are not going to be paying the same kind of attention. So how long did it take you, using everything that you have, so to speak, to become comfortable talking in the political arena, talking with staffers, talking with elected officials, things like that?
Well, practice makes perfect. There's no way to really do it. If you decide that this is what you want to do, you've got to go out and you just learn, as you go. You'll make mistakes, which is fine. That's how you learn. But I think what you ultimately have to realize is that these are people just like you. I would be talking the same way with, Senator Tillis from North Carolina as I am talking with you, and do it the same way and joke the same way. They're no different. They're individuals, and some of them are really funny guys. They're really good people, and some of them can be jerks, just like anyone else,
Yep.
So it's just understanding that they're no different than you, that just because of who they are or what they are. And one thing that I have learned is that when you do speak, you do have to speak with passion, because they can catch it. They can feel it. They can feel when people are bullshitting them, and they can feel when people are sincere about what they have to say. So if you've got something to say, I'm telling you, the consumer being able to go ahead and visit their local congressman or their local chamber or the local board, is probably the most influential thing that anyone can do, because you're speaking from the heart. Plus, being in the industry, I can't, make health claims and all that, fun stuff, but a consumer can, But so, being sincere, being passionate, being knowledgeable about the industry goes a long way. But talking for the sake of talking, like I'm doing now, typically also doesn't work. You also have to listen, You also have to ask them questions.
Yep.
It's not a one-way street. You're not going to go there and just spew your guts out. You gotta engage with them. Do you have any questions? Do you know anyone that vapes? You do. Who? Oh, really? How long have they been vaping? Is it working out for them? Yeah, it has. Oh, great. That's funny. The same thing happens with my customers, blah, blah, blah. So you just strike a conversation and you continue. You try to establish a connection. It's just like, having a conversation with someone that you meet at a bar. Nothing different.
That's one thing that I do know that a lot of people will shy away from, for the simple fact that they get nervous. They're like, okay, this elected official must put their pants on with gold-plated. Who knows? This makes I swear to God, this thing's going to drive me up the wall.
Let me turn my recorded microphone off. Hold on. There, I threw it away. But yeah, it's not rocket science. It's intimidating. It's scaring. It's scary. Speaking in public is scary. Depends on your, so I got to give kudos to a lot of people who've never done that. I came from a corporate background, so I was always used to speaking in front of people. I taught for many years, so I was always used to speaking. So that also helped as well. So, a lot of things in life that you think don't really apply can help you do what you're doing,
Now you just got to get out there and do it.
Don't take yourself for granted. Go out there, trip, fall, make a mistake, do it again. It's fun, you know. It's
I'm not sure
going
that I
out
would
there
use.
and going to DC. I love going to DC. I
Really?
love going. Yeah, absolutely love going. I love going to the General Assembly and talking and just walking around. The history, the people, the politics. Oh man, you think soap operas are bad? Check out politics, man. There's stuff that there's stuff there that you'd be like, whoa.
Yeah,
This guy should be jailed.
I've seen some of the politics that run around, and it's like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, well, there's oof, yeah, it's fun, bro. It's
See, now
you hear this stuff and you're like, really?
that's another thing is a lot of people don't have, or they don't find a comfort level in doing any kind of public speaking. You know, they can talk one-on-one to people, but if you put them in front of a group of like 10 or 15 people, they turn into this biggest wallflower I've ever seen. You get them off a stage or in front of a group of people, and oh my God, they turn into a blabbermouth. It's like, what the hell? You know? Now,
the secret is to be prepared. The secret is to talk slow. The secret is to pause like I'm doing now if you don't know what you want to say next. So, there's secrets that you learn, and eventually you'll get it. So, just go out there and do it. And hopefully we'll see other states getting a political action committee together. My PAC is always available for any state that wants to use it. I mean, all it is basically it's a clearing house. You give me money, I give you a check, and you give it to your politician. But why would you do that? Why can't I could just go ahead and give them the money directly? Yeah, you could, but remember, it's got that PAC next to it.
Yep.
And that means something. That means organization. That means maturity.
it means carrying a lot of responsibility that goes with it as it goes along. Now, let me ask you a couple other questions. Are you the the state group, vaping advocacy group?
So I'm one of the co-founders of the North Carolina Vaping Council.
Sherwin, all of a sudden, your microphone just absolutely died, sir.
Oh, can you?
See if that'll drive anything a little bit better.
How's that? Can you hear me
That's
now?
it's my mixer. I think that it turned around and that last whatever the hell came through blew like a preamp out or something.
You're like a DJ, man, with all those buttons out there.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to hire you for my next event. You're going to be awesome.
If I could turn my webcam, this thing is like huge. And it's just...
Do you know Kanye West?
Well, I'll tell you what. I love this thing because it gives me the capability for a lot of different control and a lot of aspect of what I want. My little one was just this little tiny baby mixer compared to this thing. But I had to have the USB interface in order to have better control. A little bit more granular control. But it's that age-old saying that Stan Lee made famous, with great power comes great responsibility.
That's right.
And now it's like I have to learn how to run the damn thing. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Now, we were talking about the state advocacy group.
Yes. So I'm one of the co-founders of the North Carolina Vaping Council. We've got Robert Wagner, who also co-founded it with me, with his wife, Crystal Wagner, who just had a baby. Crystal,
Wow.
If you're watching, love you. We've got our board members. We've got Ron Peoples from Bad Modifogger, and we got Charles Harris from Overpowered Mod Co. So we've got a strong board of directors at the North Carolina Vaping Council, and we've got some amazing members who've always been supportive and just do an incredible job. Mark Bird is also with us as well. He's going to be redesigning our website for us. He's doing a lot of the graphic interface for us. So yeah, I'm excited. Things are definitely taking another step forward in the organization, which I love. We're getting more representation from our other shops that are in, I guess, North Central North Carolina.
How many shops do you have in the Vapor Association for your state?
30, 32, 32, yeah, which is about a point 0.7, like a 7% retention rate, which is pretty above normal. Usually most states are at 5%. But we're trying to go ahead and get more. People go ahead and say, wow, 30 out of 32 out of 500 doesn't seem like a lot. Well, it's the norm, but listen, you can go ahead. I'm not a big fan of shaming and getting people to go ahead and join, and by telling them they should join, because if you don't, you're a jerk. I don't think that. I don't believe that works. I think what works is word of mouth. I think what works is being there for people who need help. And I'm always there for anyone from North Carolina who has a question. I'll always go ahead and answer their question, because you don't want to have a toxic environment. I mean, let's put it to you like this. I did a couple of things which I thought was the right path, and I regret it to this day. And I don't think I've isolated that individual. As a matter of fact, I didn't. I think they joined. There's another person that might have been isolated, but I think they're coming around. So I've learned the hard way. Like I said, you make mistakes. You don't know. There's nothing's written on how to do this. You just try to be there for people and try to be as helpful as possible. And people have to understand that, listen, these answers, unfortunately, I'll be more than happy to help you, but they don't come free. These answers come with a cost. They came with hiring a lobbyist who broke the child resistant cap for North Carolina. Who went ahead and limited multiple attempts to increase our sales tax in North Carolina, who went ahead and defeated every bill that went against the vaping industry from North Carolina.
Wow.
This costs money, so if you could join us, give us something, we would appreciate it. And they usually end up doing that,
And that's a far cry from what I see a lot of other organizations doing, or some. Is they try to, like you said, they try to shame people into joining, or they try to play on guilt or feeling of guilt. But I like your approach, because you're taking the time to say, look, here's what we're doing. We could really use your help.
Yeah, I mean, how can you have a conversation with someone if you push them away? I understand the frustration. I understand that it can build up. But if you're doing this, you have to have patience. You have to. A lot of people don't, but you have to have patience. Time's not on our side. I understand that. But you have to have patience to be able to turn people eventually over to your side.
Yeah,
it takes time, and some people won't. Fine, move on. Go to someone else. Don't worry about the failures. I mean, how many failures equals a success? I mean, simple sales techniques that they teach you in every sales. For every cold calling, for every 20 cold calls, I get one sign up. Yeah, I have to look at it like that. Everything has a pattern in life, and by preventing yourself and your members from not talking to other shops, just defeats the purpose of bringing them on board.
Now,
I mean, that's my opinion. Every state is different, so I'm not saying that I have know that what we're doing in North Carolina is going to work for any other state, but that's what it works for us.
And it's important. And I'm going to ask, since you have, and it's a different approach from what a lot of other people would use. Do you find that as you have more success that comes in, that you have a better success rate with shops individually? As in, we've been able to accomplish all of this. Would you like to help us out? And that they say yes.
Yeah, I do. I do believe so. I can tell you this. I mean, the members that have left because I would say close to 90% of them left because they ended up going out of business. I think maybe one or two left because maybe of financial struggles.
Really?
And I'm not going to go ahead and shit on them. I'm going to say, listen, when you're ready, we're here for you.
Wow. That's just unreal. But, and I've looked in the success rate of the things that you are doing there compared to some other states. It's just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
We've targeted. I'm telling you, the PAC has targeted politicians that can make or break this industry. You know, you have to be efficient with the money that you have. You can't go ahead and throw it away to every politician that you think is your friend. I mean, we would love to. We would love to have the ability to go ahead and give $100,000 to the Republican Party in North Carolina. We would love to, but you know what? We can't. So we have to go ahead and we have to be very selective as to who we give our money to. And these are chairmen that are on certain boards that have the ability to help us if we need to. These are people who have power at the General Assembly. And if you're going to go ahead and approach this and you don't have that kind of those kind of financial resources, that's what you have to do. You know, so every state should be doing the same thing. Don't target every politician. You got to target the guys that are on those appropriation committees, the ones that deal out funding, the ones that would pass laws, the ones that what the FDA would be under in your state. Those are the people that you guys need to be targeting. You know, make friends with them. Your lobbyists should be having meetings with those guys all the time. You should be donating to their political campaign. You know, all of that works. It works. You're establishing relationships. We've actually got a group of volunteers now that will be going and helping these politicians come election day.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We've got some people that are available on the weekends, and we're going to say, listen, you need some volunteers? We got some people for you to walk around.
Now that's huge. I mean, to me, that's a huge dedication of time to be able to help a political person. And I mean, they've got to take a look at that and go, damn, nobody else is doing that. Or very few people are.
Exactly.
See,
that's how it works. It's boots on the ground. It's talking to someone over drinks. It's having a good discussion with passion and having them ask questions and asking them questions. You know?
That's the big one. It was one thing that I did hear I sat down. I didn't interview the guy, but I had an hour conversation with the former police chief in an area up here because I wanted to ask him the legalities about underage smoking and vaping and whatnot. But he said, don't ever think, because I had made a derogatory kind of comment going, we're so screwed. He goes, don't think like that. He goes, one person can change the world. You just have to know where to apply your leverage at. And by the sounds of it, you're working on that kind of a principle really, really well.
Yep. That's how it works.
And it is one thing that I would, again, remind people. It just, every time, everything is cumulative of what you do.
Yeah.
You have a simple conversation here, you have another one there, you have another one there. You're building the friendship, the relationship, but all of the work that you put in is cumulative to be able to help the actual industry. So when people say, well, how can one person make a difference? Come on, folks. One person makes a hell of a difference.
Yeah. Let's put it to you like this. In North Carolina, there was this woman that wanted to go ahead and she wanted to do a flavor ban. And we didn't talk about it because it never went anywhere. And she went to a very high-level official over at the General Assembly. And he said, you know what, Madam Senator, that is a fantastic idea. But if that man over there approves of it, we're good to go. And he pointed to our lobbyist.
Really?
Yep. And that's the relationships that you have to have.
And those take time. Like why you said it takes patience.
It takes patience. Everything takes patience. It takes time. I mean, we started in 2015. We after the 5 cents per mil tax was passed, we were fortunate enough to have an incredible lobbyist who is just he ended up being also a very good friend of mine, but he's also a vapor as well. And he has grown not only with us, but also with his firm. He's now a partner in the firm. He now represents a league of various clients. And when you're dealing with a lobbyist, you got to understand that the people that he represents is also a reflection of you, in the sense that if he's a good lobbyist, he can use the leverage of those clients to benefit you.
And that's something that I don't think people listen to, pay attention to, or otherwise.
No, it's all backdoor politics. This is the stuff that you don't hear about. I mean, this is the stuff that you really people don't seem to understand. But at the heart of everything, they say business is not about, business is business. I don't have to like the guy who I'm doing business with. Bullshit. You do have to like the guy that you're doing business with.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Or you have at least, you better, any business person worth their salt, you better look like you give a shit.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you're not
exactly.
going to be doing business.
Yeah. So, I mean, everything is all about it. Listen, there are some people that you're not going to sway. I understand that. I'm not going to go in and sway the most left of center, politician in the General Assembly in North Carolina. So I'm not going to waste my resources on something like that, But I am going to go ahead and I'm going to make as many connections as I possibly can with the people that can make a difference, their staffers, and anyone else that they know that want to come in and find out more about our industry. And, having an event to go ahead and, or a reception, as we call it, to honor these politicians during election time is probably the most important thing that any state advocacy group can do, because it shows you're a mature industry and it brings in other politicians other than the ones that you are representing. You're bringing in other chief of staffers from other sides of the political spectrum. Can we bring this? Yeah, you can bring whoever chief of staff, whoever you want, just bring them.
Right? The more people that are paying attention or paying, any kind of ear service and saying, I'm listening, sooner or later, they're going to get the bug in there and they're going to start to understand.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about sitting down and having an explanation and talking to these people, No matter what kind of, you can't, what did you do before this? Were you in the corporate world? Were you in the business world?
Sherwin, I lost your audio there.
Can you hear me now?
That I cannot, sir. And I don't think that I have anything that happened on my end. I tell you what, if you can hear me, what we'll do just real quick while I take a look, I'm going to go ahead and take just a couple of minutes to talk about our sponsors for a moment. I'm going to do our sponsor spot because without our sponsors, Smoke Free Radio would not be possible. So we will be right back.
Hey now, this is Dimitri with Smoke Free Radio reminding you to please show some love to our wonderful sponsors. Without them, there would be no Smoke Free Radio, and they are as follows. All the way from Florida, Moon Mountain Vapor, with locations in Florida, and their liquid available for wholesale and retail, moonmountainvapor.com. Some of the best custards and tobaccos on the market from the Brickwills Vaping Company. The lovely Shell with a vapor bar, locations in Texas, Virginia, and West Virginia. And of course online at thevaporbar.com. And who says you can't have award-winning e-liquid without cartoon characters? That's exactly what you're going to get at theplumeroom.com. And finally, of course, the Vaping Advocate magazine that has generously provided the telephone lines for you to communicate with us. Thank you for your support. And finally, for you, the listener, don't forget to check out the coupons and codes page on Smoke Free Radio. Pick up some e-liquid and save some money. From all of us here at Smoke Free Radio, thank you.
See, I'll tell you what, no matter what direction I am going in this evening, something is going on that it's like, oh my God, really?
Hey, do you have a link to the show you can send to me via PM?
See, now I'm afraid to actually turn the volume up on this much more.
That's all right. That's all right.
My luck, I would overdrive the hell out of everything. See if that's a little bit better.
That's good. A little reverberation, but I can hear you.
All right.
Do you have a link to the show that you can send me?
I do. Let me toggle back over here. It's the only downfall with my tennis racket of a pop filter that Dimitri busts my balls about all the time is that I have to look over the damn thing to see my keyboard. I feel like a granny behind a driving wheel or something, you know? Oh, now, see, here we go again. Now I don't have any of your audio whatsoever. Oh. I'm not showing anybody on mute. Can you hear me at all, Sherwin?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Your audio is like absolutely nothing. Like 100%. No, not even being that kind of close.
Are we live? Test.
I can see your face moving. Oh. This is going to kill me. I swear to God. I'm going to try one other thing just real quick and see if this might bounce things around just a little bit. Let's see if that does any kind of help. As you mentioned, try one more time. I have absolutely nothing coming across from you at all. Like next to nothing. Hold on 1 second.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. There's something in it might even be just in, when I installed the mixer, I had to install an actual secondary piece of software to be able to use everything. So I don't know if there's something wrong with the mixer in and of itself. Now I can hear you perfectly fine. It's like awesome. That classic reboot your PC.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Are we live?
Absolutely. We haven't stopped doing anything. It's the wonderful thing with this show is no matter if I fuck up or not, it goes straight across. It's the only way I'm going to learn how to do things. It's like jump in, do it.
Yeah.
See, when I started with Wirecast and I was doing just a little bit of stuff, it was good, but Wirecast ate the hell out of my PC. It ate my PC for lunch. To where I would even try to open up Facebook to look at a chat room, and it just, oh my God, it was hell. So I moved to OBS, but now this is like a whole new experience.
Yeah, it's a learning experience. You'll get it. Like I said, OBS is a pain in the ass, but eventually you'll get it.
Somewhere along the way, it all works out.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so I'm always paying attention to time, and I'm not going to hold you up all night. But there is something else now that I want to turn attention to and talk about, if you don't mind.
Sure.
The Vaping Legion.
Okay.
I know that people have heard me talk about it before, and when I've had other people on, but tell me, what in a nutshell is the Legion?
The Vaping Legion is a group of consumer activists who...
Okay, hold on. And I don't mean to interrupt. I need people to listen and understand. Tell me the difference between an advocate and an activist.
I think, in my personal opinion, an activist is someone that actually goes ahead and does something, as opposed to an advocate who goes ahead and...
Hold on, Sherwin. I swear to God, this thing is going to absolutely fry my brain. I didn't touch a damn thing, and your mic audio went absolutely to hell. I don't know if it's the inputs that I'm using or what.
Is that better? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's there. I'm not going to say better, but... Okay, you were explaining. Let me see if I've got any audio from you.
Okay, so an activist is someone that actually does something, as opposed to an advocate who goes ahead and screams at the top of their lungs about news briefs of what stuff should happen. So what has the Vaping Legion done? The Vaping Legion, in my opinion, I consider them to be kind of like that watchdog agency, the people that will call out bad e-liquid manufacturers, home brewed e-liquid manufacturers that are selling to the general public labels that are just completely irresponsible. They have no filter because they want what's best for the industry. They do not get paid. They're not paid by anyone. They do it for the love of this industry. And these guys have so much passion for this industry that they only want to see success. Now, in the past, there have been some issues, and I think that has been cleared up. I think there's been a degree of professionalism that has been brought to it. I also understand that, with that, there's always growth within any kind of institution. And I think as things move forward, you'll see that growth. The growth is coming. The maturity has come. I can't speak for what happened in the past. Not very familiar with it. I can only speak about what's happening now. And I think that our actions speak for themselves. We raised over $700 for CASA in regards to T-shirts. We raised over $5,000, I think, for a waffle for CASA.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know about. And so we do a lot, and we are the watchdogs. We are the ones that people come to when we're not the savior that you want. We're the savior that the industry needs. And sometimes things can get dirty. Sometimes things can get bloody. And we do what we feel is best for this industry. And we want this industry to survive. We want it to have the diversity that you currently see in the marketplace. Don't want to see it dominated by only a few manufacturers. We want it healthy. We want it representative of what this industry truly is, and that is public health. We operate within the public health spectrum. I say that all the time. And your labels and your marketing and everything from distribution to sales should reflect that. And if you're in this industry for the right reason, to convert smokers to vapors, then if you do that correctly, then you're doing fine. And if not, then we're going to have something to say.
And that I 100% agree with. Don't go anywhere. Hold on one second. Like I said, this thing's absolutely going to kill me. It's those days that you just think that you've got everything dialed in and running right. And we'll turn around and give you the finger every damn time.
Got that damn beatbox on the left side of your screen.
Oh. Yeah, when people see me pull my ball bat out and start beating the shit out of this thing. I don't, and I really don't know why, but your audio at times just absolutely nosedives into nothing. And I'm just sitting here looking at this going, I didn't touch you.
Hopefully they heard what I had to say.
Oh, I made sure that the volume was up so people will be able to listen to it and hear it. Because it's important that people know. They hear all kinds of stories. They hear all kinds of rumor, innuendo, who knows what, when it comes to the Legion. And yet most people don't take the time to see past a possible public image identity
Yeah.
to find out what is really going on behind this image.
Yeah. And you know, we don't care about image. We care about the longevity of this industry. Like I said, we're not the people that you may want, but I think it's the people that you need right now in order to do the things that need to be done that other people can't do. Now, a lot of these consumers, activists that are part of Legion can get away with a lot because
they're consumers.
Yeah, they're consumers, you know, so they have the ability to do what they want. And so I do believe that it's a necessity that the industry needs.
It's one of the things that, as a manufacturer, I can't say what is on my mind half the time as well as a consumer can say it. Because if I say it, the FDA is going to come after me, or I have the possibility of getting into a lot of trouble. You know, but a consumer can stand up and say, here's what I believe to be true. And then they can act just like the FDA and say exactly whatever they want, whether it turns into a piece of truth or not.
Right. And if there was ever in a situation where you did anything that we felt was inappropriate for this industry, we would contact you as well. You know, it's not like we play favorites. We don't. We believe we have they have no interests, and I won't say we because I'm there as a consultant. I'm there to kind of guide them on the political level. But these guys go ahead and what they do, the dedication that they have, and the hours that are involved in doing this is it's very, very admirable. It's respectful. I don't think anyone puts in as much time as these guys do. They have my utmost respect, and if people knew the type of stuff that they did, they'd be shocked as to the amount of hours that are involved. Where these guys do not get paid by anyone. They are not influenced by anyone. They are people that just love this industry and want it to succeed. And they're very smart. They're very intelligent, and they're doing it for the right reasons. Oh, but they should do it a certain way. Well, you know what? Whoever has that kind of critique, they need to go ahead and do it themselves.
I've heard multiple people on the broadcast that the Legion does. I've heard that so many times, and it is not, to me, it does not come across from a standpoint of, you're critiquing me, here's what I think about you. It comes from a point of saying, look, if you don't think that we're doing it the right way, do something yourself and begin another conversation. That's
the difference between an activist and an advocate.
And that's it. And there's so much. I had the chance to meet you and Tristan, Alan Davis, and some other gentlemen at the Vapors Carnival in Tennessee.
Matthew Salter.
Yep, down in Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
And it was enlightening, to say the least. Now, I've listened to a lot of shows, and I've watched you guys for a long time. But to be able to stand and shake your hand and speak to each of you individually helps to see behind that possible public perception.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We are, I won't say we, the Legion, because it's a lot of people. They're willing to go ahead and talk to anyone. We're never going to go ahead and we'll always approach someone first and tell them there's a problem. We'll always give them an opportunity to go ahead and hear their side of the story. And if they mess up, that's when it becomes a problem. It's not as dictatorial as many may think it is. Oh, they're just ravenous packs of dogs that are attacking anything with drama and hate, it comes to us. We don't go looking for it, unfortunately.
There's a lot of people that bring things to your attention at points, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And I've seen posts in the Legion on Facebook that they turn around and say, "Hey guys, did you see this?"
Yeah.
And I can hear 100 palms smacking a face and going, "Oh shit, here we go again." And not because you're upset with whoever brought it to your attention, but because there's another jackass doing something that they shouldn't be doing to begin with.
Yeah.
Child infringing or child labels or IP infringement or just the latest one that I saw, somebody putting Viagra in
that was the FDA.
In a liquid.
The FDA just went ahead and did a letter to a company that was putting some sort of, I don't know, Viagra in e-liquid or something like that.
Yeah, they were putting they called it erectile dysfunction medication and
in a vaping product.
Something like Adderall or something, and I'm thinking,
there goes my Friday. Shit, I had to go find out. Oh well, guess I got to do the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's people like that even Bill Tarling had mentioned. These are the people that are saying it's not an e-liquid product because it doesn't have anything to do with nicotine, and yet when they get slammed for being assholes, it's the vapor industry that is catching the flack and taking up the slack because it comes in a bottle that has a lid and liquid. And public perception goes, "Oh, that's e-liquid. That's for the e-cigarette industry. That's bad news." By God, I'll skin this cat one way or another.
I'm coming to your house, man. I don't know where you live, but I'm driving over.
Yeah, he's going to drive over, and you'll see me in a pile on the floor going, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it."
Is there an axe embedded into your new devices?
All the way up here in Ohio, you'll hear the thumping of somebody's ass. That'll be mine. No, I use, unfortunately, an external audio device coming out of a USB port that gets ported into, and I think that might be the actual issue. Because I know it's not your microphone. Everything that you're doing is preset.
All right, yeah. So
people...
one thing I wanted to, I don't want to say correct you. What I would like to hear people say in this industry is irresponsible marketing.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, because it is irresponsible. Because when you say child appealing, the industry does not market in any way, shape, or form to children whatsoever. They don't. I mean, you don't see it. I mean, give me an example of where we advertise in a publication directed towards children. Give me an example of where it is at the height of a child as they're walking down an aisle. I mean, it's not. It's just irresponsible marketing, and that is, I think, what we need to do. We need to change the narrative so that other people don't hear that word. When I hear that, I cringe. Child appealing. We don't appeal to children.
And that's one thing that I'll try to do, and I appreciate you saying that because it makes much more sense when you say what it actually is rather than trying to give it some
it's irresponsible narrative. I mean, we are viewed by the FDA as operating within the public health spectrum.
Really?
That is how we are viewed. We have to operate with that degree of responsibility, period. And that, like I said, encompasses every form of the distribution network from a point of sale all the way down to distribution, sales, and advertising. So do it right or don't do it at all, and we'll call out distros, we'll call out manufacturers, we'll call out fellow advocates if they think they're doing the wrong thing. We can have a conversation with them. That's fine. We'll have a very civil conversation. But we know what this industry. We feel that we know what this industry needs to be, and I do believe that because of what we've done, we caused a conversation to occur within this industry that never happened. There was never any discussion about this stuff as openly and as passionately since the Legion came out with that blacklist.
I know when that blacklist came out, I watched across several different groups, and I'm one of those people. I'll sit and watch, and I'll grab popcorn and read. You know, so when you see people that say, "Oh, hey, here's a new post, grab your popcorn," I'm one of them. But I do it for a lot of different reasons, not just for an entertainment value. I watch to see who is reacting, how are they reacting, and what are they reacting to. Because it gives me a better indication and a better understanding. If I actually have to speak with some of those people, I know how to, might be a nice way to phrase it.
Right.
But when that blacklist came out, I watched so many different places go up in flames, it wasn't even funny.
I know.
And I'm like, folks, all they did was create a list of irresponsible marketing on labels and pieces of literature. That's all they did.
Yeah, and you know, people. I mean, obviously, I was not involved with that list. That was all the Legion again, but it created a conversation. It created a debate, and you need to have healthy debate in order to fix things. You know, Benjamin Franklin said the marketplace of ideas is where liberty comes from. If you go ahead and you stifle the ability to go ahead and talk about any particular subject, it's not going to come out to the open, and you're not going to address the problems. And you have to have that kind of vigorous debate. We brought it to the table, and now you're seeing many people picking up that same narrative that were either too shy to say something about it, or they had issues with it, and now they changed, and now they're saying something about it. So
I'm going to ask a pointed kind of question. Do you think that blacklist helped spawn a recent expo from banning or saying we don't want this particular company in attendance?
Absolutely. Without 100% doubt in my mind.
See, now, I'm asking that because later on, people are going to be listening to this, watching this. I've got friends, family, all kinds of people that either vape and don't vape. But I want them to know something small that started out as a post in a piece of paper helped create a capability for an expo presenter to look at a major person that wanted to come in, and they would say no because you have irresponsible marketing.
And then the FDA came out with those 13 letters and completely validated everything that we said.
And that's huge, all in and of itself.
Yep.
You mentioned the FDA. I'm going to segue into them for just a second.
Mm-hmm.
With the recent things that they've had to say, does it give you a feeling of being worried for the vapor industry in a whole? I mean, I know they're going after Juul and Fuse and Mark 10 and Blue, and I've got my own issues with all of that. But the things that they're saying, do you believe that it is a harbinger of things yet to come?
It is completely 100% political. Everything that the FDA is doing right now is nothing more than saving face with the public health groups. The only thing that they're attempting to do right now is to go ahead and cover themselves up and attempt to make themselves feel as if they're doing something. Let's be completely honest. They can't snap their finger and go ahead and ban flavors. They can't snap their fingers and go ahead and ban online sales. They could push the predicate date back, but you're gonna, if they push it back too far to like 6 months, there's going to be a lawsuit involved in something like that. Because there's too many players in the industry right now that have a lot of money, that have too much to lose. And I'm not talking not only about us, I'm also talking about Juul, also talking about Blue, Views, all those guys, all the big tobacco guys that received that letter. They received that letter, and if you actually think that those guys are shaking in their boots?
I personally don't believe so. No.
RJR, Altria, Philip Morris. No, they're not. They're used to this stuff. They understand this is nothing more than posturing in the eyes of the FDA. So the question that we need to go ahead and consider is, what does that mean? That means that that regardless of what they say in respects to not taking anecdotal evidence into consideration when they want to hear about how vaping has saved consumers' lives, they're willing to take into consideration anecdotal evidence in regards to publications that are being spread out through the news media via public health groups. Purely political, 100%. So now we've got to go ahead and find a way to have the FDA either save face, number one, or two, build a bigger bonfire so we can misdirect the information and pull it back and push it back on the FDA.
That's a scary kind of thought.
Yeah,
trying to build a bigger bonfire in order to redirect information, but
yeah, and I don't want to go into too much detail about how I feel about that, but I as long as people understand that it's political in nature, then you have to understand how to play the game. You have to understand that you need a pack. You have to understand that it's based on relationships, and that's the only way that's going to save this industry. And I also do believe that I think more manufacturers should be talking to the FDA. I do believe that our only hope, unfortunately, is the FDA. But it's going to take a little bit more to go ahead and get this done. And, bad news spreads faster than good news, unfortunately.
I would agree. Bad news travels like insanely fast.
Yeah,
good news catches up about 3 years later.
So, yeah. So I'll just leave it at that, and I'll talk to you about my feelings on that off record.
Yeah. Ian, let me ask you this, and you can decline if you feel. What do you think the outcome will be at the end of this 60-day time frame that the FDA gave what they call the top 5 infringing products? And by that I'm saying Views, Juul.
I think Juul will probably be the most responsive, to be perfectly honest, because they've got some really good tech behind their product that they can go ahead and submit to the FDA. I think the other big guys are going to give them the big FU. But either way, it's going to be a response, and the FDA is going to go ahead and say, look, we did something. We got these guys to react. How great is that? And then it's going to start all over again. As long as people who are listening understand that the industry will be dead in 4 years, as long as you understand that, then you've got to understand that if you care about this industry, you need to get your shop involved in state groups, and you need to join CASA, and you need to, more importantly, vote. If you do not vote during this election year, you do not have the right to complain about anything. Voting right now is our biggest weapon that we have. And it's not just you, it's the people that you know, the family that you know. And if we can go ahead and be credited for an election, it would be huge. It can be just one election. Look what happened to Senator Ron Johnson. Remember that?
I do.
Yeah. Can you imagine if one of these state groups went to one of these candidates during their election time, and they won, and they said, Thank you, State Advocacy Organization, for supporting my reelection and helping me win. Get that on video.
Yep.
Give it to was it ATR, Americans for Tax Reform, and let them run with it. They'll run that all over the place, media-wise, and
Yeah, they
it'll
will.
send political ripples like you've never seen before.
That would cause everybody to start to scramble, saying, "How do I get a piece of that?" From a political standpoint.
Yep, that's what needs to be done. If you're a state advocacy organization, if you're supporting a particular candidate, every state organization should have your lobbyists come up with political recommendations as to who to vote for this election within your state. Pick one. You want to pick the one that you carry across the line, not the one that's a slam dunk. You want to go ahead and support the guy who you carry across the line. You get that guy to win, you get him on video, that's all you need. We have 2 or 3 examples of that. We can send that to ATR, and I guarantee you the political fires of the vapor industry will be seen from here to DC. Guaranteed.
I would agree, because once people start to see that happening, it becomes more like the bonfire of what you were just saying. It helps change the narrative from a public opinion, if I can put it that way.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I always forget his name. Is it Grover Washington? Who's head of the ATR? I always forget the guy's name. He wrote a piece about when Ron Johnson got reelected, and it was covered. It was covered in one of the local Sunday talk shows about, tell me something that is surprising that I don't know. Senator Ron Johnson got reelected with the help of the vape community, over in where is he, in Washington? Over in Washington. So we need to watch out for this. I was on one show.
Really?
Imagine if we had 3 state candidates that we have on video saying this. That's what we need.
It's exactly what we need from an industry standpoint, is traction for the right people, be it Senate, be it Congress.
Yep. That's why CASA is so important. That's why we need to increase their membership. Their $255,000 is incredibly weak. We need to build that to $500,000 to $1 million. We need to get those numbers up there. If you're not a member of CASA, you need to join. You need to get your family members to join. We've got to get everyone to join so that we can increase the membership rolls and show that we've got political force within this country to have the ability to make the perceived change that DC will see. And if we can do that, I guarantee that will also be a game changer as well. We don't have money, but we've got numbers, and we've got to be able to use it. And you've got to know how to play the game. It's not about money, it's about perception. It could very well be that the guy won by 10 points, and it was, a family of 10 in the middle of bumfuck nowhere that went ahead and did it. But he thanked the vapors for something like that. It's the perception. The DCCs of him actually thanking this community that matters. And that's what we need to do.
That's the belief that would drive it and carry it home for an awful lot of people. There is no doubt about it. Yeah. And especially when you get into the belt area for DC, when other members start to see there's this voting block that is becoming larger and larger, and it can turn the tide of an election, that's when they'll start to pay attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Sherwin, before I finish out for the evening, is there anything in particular that you would want people to know or to hear?
Vote. Vote this election. Get your family members to vote. Get your friends to vote. Tell them who you want them to vote for. Contact your state advocacy organization. Find out who they recommend, and vote. That's what. If anything comes out of this, and if anyone who is listening, that is probably the most important thing that we need to do that's coming up in November. Most recently, it's bar none, 100%.
I would agree, because I'm seeing, even on local scales, where people are starting to get out to vote that had not done so previously or had been so relaxed in their voting capability.
Yep.
That it has changed locally. Where I'm at in the city, I'm hour and a half southeast of Cleveland, Ohio, in the small towns, and I'm seeing political landscape changing because other people are coming out and saying, we're not going to support you. And all of a sudden, within 7 days, that political candidate has changed their narrative to become, oh, no, I'm for these people. Check this out. So everybody, every vote counts. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and remember, it's not just you that's voting. If you're passionate about a particular subject and you've got family members, you're telling me that you don't have influence over family members and friends? I mean, come on.
It's
Come
true.
on. You know, when it comes to voting, just listen, do me a favor, just vote for this guy. Just vote for this guy. Please, just vote for this guy. You can vote whoever you want, but vote for him. Just pick one. Pick one in your state and target him.
Do me a favor, if you would, for people that might want to get in touch with you for various reasons, whether it's about the PAC, whether it is about your state group, or even the Legion, where can people find you?
On Facebook, you can find me, Sherwin Mena. Right to Vape PAC on Facebook, North Carolina Vaping Council on Facebook. You know, if you're a shop owner that's in North Carolina and you want to join, ncvapingcouncil.com. If you're a consumer that wants to donate to Right to Vape, it's right, R-I-G-H-T, the number 2, vape, VAP.org. And we're willing to take donations because it's all consumer funded, not institutionally funded. So, yeah. And then if you want to speak to me, I'm always happy to answer any of your questions any time of the day. I'm always open.
Fantastic. Sherwin, I seriously appreciate you taking time to join me this evening to be able to talk. And honestly, even more so for putting up with all of my audible, God knows what the hell happens that's going on.
Coming to your house, man. Ohio's not that far.
We'll get everything ironed out one way or the other. All right, sir. I appreciate your taking time out this evening. I really do.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I will catch up with you again sometime soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, Oklahoma. Are you going to Oklahoma?
I may make an appearance. I'm not going to be down there with a booth, but I may take the time to come down and talk to a few people because there's some interesting things that are going on.
Yeah, I'll be there, and I'll probably be in Chattanooga, too.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I definitely want to be able to catch up with you again because we got a lot of things to be able to sit and talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. All right. Again, I'll talk to you again soon. I appreciate you taking time tonight.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Thanks for having me.
Take care now.
You got it.
And here we are with an absolute blank screen. You got to love that. I go to do one thing and it stops and does something completely different. Oh, I love technology when it works. I don't like technology when it turns around and it gives me the finger. This evening, that was Sherwin Mena, who very much has an awful lot of information, has a literal ton of things that he's able to help work around and do. And as he mentioned, everybody, if you have one thing that you want to get done, join your state association for vaping, whether you're a shop owner or a manufacturer. Join CASA, join your national group, and get out and vote. And those are the biggest things. Next week I've got another gentleman coming up. I'll make some splash announcements as we go along, but for right now, it has been another Thursday evening filled with a bunch of question marks and a lot of foul language that I wanted to say on my end. I appreciate everybody very much taking time to join me for tonight's show, and I will catch you again next week. Until then, I hope you have a great weekend.